London, the beating heart of England. A city of trade, ambition, and growing power in the 17th century, but also a city made of timber, thatched roofs, and narrow streets.
Imagine the year, 1666.
The air thick with the scent of smoke from thousands of hearths. The bells of St.
Paul's tolling over the River Thames.
And somewhere in the dark, inside a humble bakery on Pudding Lane, a spark is about to ignite a catastrophe that will change the course of British history forever. This is the story of the Great Fire of London, a disaster that consumed a city, reshaped a nation, and gave birth to the London we know today. The city was a maze of wooden houses leaning against each other like drunken sailors. Open flames lit every home, and the streets were narrow, barely wide enough for a horse cart to pass. The memory of the Great Plague of 1665 was still fresh. Just a year earlier, London had lost nearly 100,000 souls to disease. As 1666 dawned, the people were desperate for renewal, unaware that a far greater trial awaited. The summer had been long and dry. The River Thames ran low, and the wooden homes baked under the relentless sun. In early September, the wind picked up from the east, a wind that would fan the flames of destiny. And in a small bakery owned by Thomas Farriner on Pudding Lane, an oven was left unattended. Night of September 2nd, 1666. Shortly after midnight, Farriner's maid awoke to the smell of smoke. Within minutes, the bakery was engulfed. The family barely escaped through an upstairs window, but the flames leapt from house to house like a living thing. The wind turned fierce, spreading the fire north and west. Neighbors screamed, church bells rang wildly. The city's Lord Mayor, Sir Thomas Bloodworth, was called to act. But in a moment of fatal hesitation, he dismissed the threat, reportedly saying, "Pish. A woman could piss it out." By dawn, it was too late. The fire had grown into a storm of flame. Roofs exploded from the heat, molten lead streamed from St. Paul's Cathedral, and the sky glowed red over the Thames. Londoners fled in terror, clutching their children, their Bibles, their silver. Samuel Pepys, the famed diarist, wrote that the fire made me weep to see it. He would later record the chaos as it unfolded, describing London as all in flames, an infinite great fire. By Monday, September 3rd, the inferno had become unstoppable.
The fire leaped across the city like a dragon enchained.
Entire parishes disappeared overnight. From Cheapside to Fleet Street, buildings collapsed in roaring waves of heat. King Charles II, still young and ambitious, took command personally. Alongside his brother, the Duke of York, he ordered firebreaks, the desperate demolition of homes to halt the fire's advance. Troops and volunteers worked frantically, using gunpowder to blow up rows of houses, hoping to starve the flames. But the wind howled on, defying all effort. Eyewitnesses said it was like the end of the world. The heat was so fierce it cracked stones and melted church bells. People fled to the fields beyond the city walls, watching helplessly as their homes vanished in smoke. On Tuesday, September 4th, the fire reached its height, devouring St.
Paul's Cathedral, the pride of London.
Its great dome, newly restored, collapsed in a storm of fire and sparks that lit the night sky like a funeral pyre. By Wednesday, September 5th, the winds fell silent. The flames, starved of air, began to weaken. Bucket chains, fire hooks, and sheer exhaustion finally overcame the inferno. When the smoke cleared, the devastation was unimaginable. More than 13,000 houses, 87 parish churches, and St.
Paul's Cathedral lay in ruins.
Nearly 80% of the old city was gone. Miraculously, only a handful of lives were officially recorded lost, though the true toll was likely far higher. London was unrecognizable, a blackened shell of ash and ruin. Refugees camped in the open fields of Moorfields and Islington, while merchants wept over the loss of their livelihoods. But from this tragedy rose something remarkable. King Charles II vowed to rebuild London fairer and more magnificent than before. Enter Sir Christopher Wren, architect, mathematician, visionary. He designed a new St. Paul's Cathedral, crowned with its great dome, and a city built of stone, not timber. The new streets were wider, the buildings safer, the heart of London reborn. In the aftermath, Londoners sought someone to blame. Rumors spread fast, of foreign plots, Catholic conspiracies, and divine punishment. A French watchmaker named Robert Hubert falsely confessed to starting the fire and was hanged, though he hadn't even arrived in London until days after it began. The truth was simpler and sadder. It was an accident, born of negligence, wooden architecture, and the perfect storm of wind and drought. But myths endure. Some believed the fire was God's wrath for the sins of the city, a divine cleansing after the plague. Others claimed it was part of a grand conspiracy to rebuild London as a new Rome. The Great Fire of London burned for just 4 days, but its impact lasted for centuries.
From the ashes rose a new city, Stronger, Saphir, Grandet.
A city that refused to die. It taught Londoners a lesson about courage, community, and rebirth, that even in destruction, there can be creation.
So next time you walk through the streets of the city, Paste Saint. Paul sort the monument, Roman B, beneath your feet lies the story of fire. The fire that forged modern London.
If you enjoyed this story of Britain's past, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Legends of Britain, where history isn't just told, it's reborn.